Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master, and we are here with day 90 of Coffee and MTG, the morning talk show where if you got questions, you better believe that we're going to have the answers. And we love to discuss all things Magic the Gathering this morning, so brew up your cup of coffee or whatever cup of Magic you'd like to have. And if it's the morning, afternoon, or evening, let's have a great discussion about Magic. And of course, the hottest thing right now are all the Zendikar spoilers. I mean, the Zendikar spoilers are out big time. And we have a lot of really new and exciting cards that are coming out. Well, exciting. Exciting for the people who get cards. I don't know, but exciting for the people who don't. Right now is a golden opportunity for anyone who is getting, get something from Fire Design. From the Merfolk community standpoint, like, where's our Fire Design card? Where's our Fire Design card? I'm looking around Modern right now. I'm looking around Modern right now, and like so many decks have had huge, massive upgrades. I mean, you look at Red Green Ponza. Red Green Ponza had, like, I wouldn't say nothing, but like they were working off of like bare minimum, and then they got like tons of new upgrades in the form of Clothis. Bloodbraid Elf got unbanned. Seasoned Pyromancer, so their deck got a huge upgrade. Where's Merfolk's upgrades? What the hell did we? Well, I mean, we got a little bit of something. We got Force of Negation and Brazen Borrower, I guess. We got a little something. Good morning, everyone. All right, yeah. So streams for anyone who's watching live. Streams a little bit late. My webcam was okay. Hold on. I could show you what it was doing. So like I had to customize. So like when I started pre-stream, it looked like this. Do you see? Does everyone see this? Looks terrible, right? I'm like, I can't start the stream like this. This is miserable. So I just had to make sure that I adjusted the settings manually. Hey, I changed this. Can we go back? Okay, thank you. Hold on, let's peel it back. Well, what is this? Is this better or is this? This is a little dark, but at the same time, I can see the floodlights better. This one shows me a lot better, but I don't see the floodlights as well. And it's a slightly grainy. Like I feel like I should have this, but I should have more camera lights in front of me. Dark? What's your vote? Dark or light? Should be a bright and cheery channel. Yeah, I know. So while I get everyone's opinion, yes, we did just start the stream a little bit late because of webcam difficulties. Good morning, Madcap Skills. Good morning, Lord Magicus, and congratulations on your 5-0. With a blue-white version of Lurrus. Well, I guess there have been blue-white version of Lurruses out there, but playing. Here's the really huge innovation of this deck. Lord Magicus was playing with Burrenton Forged Hender. Really, really interesting card. Probably a really great card right now against all the prowess decks. Probably is going to have game against Ponza. Definitely like crushes burn, so very interesting list. And he was running the full 4 Path Exile. Good morning, Jundicide, Realny, Light. So it's funny, your name is Light, and I'm asking, do you like the light side or the dark side? And Satamane. Good morning, Grim Ducky. So yes, we are now. So light is better. Light or dark. I mean, I guess I could go light. I mean, I look better. You can see my hair. Whereas if we go a little bit darker, you can't see my hair anymore. But you see the floodlights. But really, this should be a show about me, not the floodlights. So I guess this will be the new norm for a little while until I get better lighting for my face. Because if I can get better lighting for my face and my hair, then we can make the background look even better. Yeah, cube hair. That's right. Yeah, no Mariner. Like when I played the blue-white Lurrus deck myself, I thought Mariner was garbage. Mariner was a bad card. I had high hopes for Mariner for the second time because I play-tested Mariner in the past. Mariner is just a grizzly bear that taxes your opponent a little bit but doesn't actually make any impact on the game. Whereas Lurrus is real impact in the game because if the game goes long, it's a random creature that you can just put into your hand, and also it helps find more creatures from your graveyard. Huge card. It's a 2-for-0. Essentially, if you can put Lurrus in your deck, it's a 2-for-0. You get basically two copies of a. You get two threats out of nowhere. So Lurrus, I was impressed with. Like let's get back to Lurrus. And that's why I like. And we need to fight fire with fire right now when it comes to the Why is it like this? I don't... Did they change something? I feel like the card is more scrunched up now. Hold on. There we go. That's what that's what I want to see. Can we go a little bit bigger? Beautiful. So when it comes to when it comes like trying to beat like the prowess decks and stuff, they're playing with Lurrus. Rakdos prowess is playing with Lurrus. Some of the mono red versions are also playing with Lurrus. They have a light white splash for specifically Lurrus. Hard to beat those decks. Like just near damn impossible. Especially the Rakdos versions. I mean, you can dismember the Swift Spear, but then it's going to come back, and they have like infinite Mishra's Baubles and Seal of Fires. At least we can use our own Lurrus to compete with their Lurrus. So I thought that was the best benefit of going blue-white, in my opinion, and but not Mariner. I think that card is just a little too fancy, especially Mariner. I could see Mariner being good in a very aggressive shell. Maybe. Not even entirely sure about that, because the humans isn't even really playing Mariner right now, and they're more aggressive than us. But if you're going to be slow, being patient, going to grind out your opponent, Mariner is pointless. Mariner is just pointless because you're going to give your opponent the time to kill it. So this is just pointless. Good morning from New Brunswick. Well, good morning from Winnipeg, Manitoba, TBCP. Good morning, Gus W. Good morning, Uber Jam. Good morning, Lonely Isotope, and the rest of the Fish fam. So, and good morning, Ty Padme, Drew, Ugly Hood Rat. Yeah, and Lurrus has life gain. What's up? I have a weekday off and I get to participate. Awesome. Well, I mean, hopefully more people can participate, because now we are doing this. The new time, if you want to join Coffee and MTG for at least up until December, is going to be 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, Mondays to Fridays. So, I mean, if this is available before you go to work or on your way to work, awesome. You can be part of the conversation here at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. So remember, if you have any questions or discussion topics, leave 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question, or give me an @Nikachu MTG so I can help. So it helps me find your questions and comments in the sea of all the comments that you want to specifically address. See, Blasted D MTG knows how it is. Have you seen the new Goblin guide? The new Goblin guide, like the same Goblin guide with new art, or a new Goblin, like literally new Goblin guide? Okay, so here's Zendikar spoilers, as far as I know. Oh, is this it? Trample and Hate. So I have... Is this really 1 red? Can't... Yeah, it's 1 red. Okay. Trample and Haste. Okay, what's the downside? When Wayward Guide Beast deals combat damage to a player, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Interesting. So first things first, this is not going to be good on turn 1, because you definitely do not want to be bouncing your Goblin guide back to your... You don't want to be bouncing your lands back to your hand on turn 1, because even for burn, it's very important for them to hit their at least 2nd land drop, ideally their 3rd, so then they can play multiple spells a turn. If burn can only play 1 spell a turn, they're actually just going to get... if burn can only play 1 spell a turn, then they're going to get raced, or they're going to be defeated. They're not going to win at 1 spell a turn. So you can't play this thing on turn 1. It looks like a 1-drop. It's really a hidden 2-drop or a 3-drop. I don't know, is the trample even relevant? It's such a weird thing to just tack on there in the end. I don't think this is going to see play in Eternal format, or I don't think this is going to see play in Modern. This might see play in Pioneer. This could be a benefit in some deck that's abusing landfall. That's possible. Like maybe this will be a good turn 2, turn 3 play that you return a land on your following. Like, you know, like with there's new step links, right? There's a new step links in here somewhere. Is it black or white? I can't remember. But there's a new step links. Well, I mean, you can't abuse it, but I mean, if it connects, you get to use it. It's in red. So, I mean, I guess that's how it's supposed to be paired. Where is this thing? It's like a red... It's 1 mana red card. Am I too far? Where is this new landfall creature? Does anyone know the name? No, I think I'm too far now. Oh, wait a minute. No, there's no there's no spoilers beyond here. Or is it, or was it 2 mana? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was a Step Links, but maybe it's something else. Do they not have it in here? Okay, well, I don't know what it is. There is a new landfall creature in Zendikar Rising. I think it's 1 mana. Akum Hellhound. Okay, thank you very much. Mythic spoiler, you have failed me for the last time. So, new Step Links, 1 red, 0/1, and behind you, Step Links saw modern play, and a lot of it. Step Links was finally retired when Death Shadow became the Death Shadow deck that it is today. It was a Step Links was modern playable. It probably still is modern playable in the right build. Oh, come on. This is nonsense. Is it LY? There you go, Step Links. The same damn thing. 1 white, 0/1 creature, landfall. When a land enters the battlefield, gets +2/+2 until end of turn. And this is 0/1 whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, +2/+2 until end of turn. Well, Death Shadow is still good, Uber Jam. Make no mistake, Death Shadow is still there competing with all the other decks. It's not the best deck in the format, but it is a tier deck. Like it's strong and needs like respect. It's just that the old version of Death Shadow, which was called Death Shadow Zoo, started the game off with a ton of these Step Linkses. And who knows, maybe they'll go back to this sort of deck where they play, I don't know, Akum Hellhound plus Step Links and have these really explosive draws. So this card can see modern play. Now, let's pair it with Wayward Guide Beast in, like, say, Standard, maybe Pioneer, and you might actually have some synergy here. Because remember, we don't have fetch lands in Pioneer. So you might have to do something like Wayward Guide Beast, which, by the way, on turn 2 is probably fine. You know what? Turn 2, sometimes turn 3, will be totally legitimate to play something like this, in addition to your Swift Spears and Soul Scar Mages. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I just don't see... Wayward Guide Beast definitely is not Goblin Guide power. Goblin Guide is way better than this. Way better for 2 reasons. First off, the disadvantage on Goblin Guide isn't even a big disadvantage, because 2/3 of the time, you just learn what's on top of your opponent's deck so you can prepare for it, and 1/3 of the time they draw a land. That's basic. And you still know what it is. So, this card's not crap, in my opinion, but I don't think it's going to see modern play, because I think modern's too powerful for a 2/2 that's going to come into play on turn 3 or on turn 2, because this is definitely going to slow you down too much, in my opinion. Wow, that's a really good... We're coming out of the gates fast with the conversation. So, yeah, and thank you very much, everyone who's joining me. Now, thank you everyone who's been joining Nikachu MTG streams. I still don't even show up on the algorithm yet. Let's see. Here I am. Ta-da! Thanks everyone who's joined. I'm at 835 subscribers so far. So if you ever want to know where these replays go, I mean, of course, if you're on Twitch, I guess you can just watch it on Twitch. but also they are available on Nikachu MTG streams eternally here. And also we have almost daily Merfolk content, almost daily. Basically, there's going to be a Merfolk video every day but Monday. And of course, we've got the stream on Monday. So this is going to be the new home for daily Merfolk content. So for anyone who liked one video a day, one matchup a day, this is definitely where you're going to want to go. So thanks everyone for getting me up to 835, and I'm like 165 away from monetizing this channel in addition to my other channel. So great stuff, great stuff. And with that, we're going to throw out some sponsors. Going to thank my sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And of course, the Mana Base is sponsored by Fusion Gaming Online. And their deal of the week, there's always a new deal of the week at Fusion Gaming. And it is 20% off all From the Vault singles and sealed products. So if you're interested in anything from the Vault, 20% off. That is the deal of the week. You can get that any between now and next week. And remember, this is a Canadian site. Fusion Gaming Online is a Canadian site, so Canadian prices. And also, you can probably support them by selling your Gaia's Cradle to them and your Mox Diamonds and whatever. And you get a 20% trade-in bonus when you do that. All right, and also, we're going to thank Mana Traders. Mana Traders is the premier place for you to rent Magic cards online to help you play any deck, any format, anytime. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save yourself 20% off your first 3 months by using my coupon code Nikachu when you sign up to Mana Traders. So we're going to thank Mana Traders for being our sponsor. Thoughts on Brushfire Elemental in Zoo? Let's go check out what Brushfire Elemental is. Is this a new card? Okay, Brushfire Elemental. Haste. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, Brushfire Elemental gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Would have to play test it. Hard to tell. Definitely got some good stuff on here. The fact that it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less is useful. I think that's very strong. It's going to make it very difficult to play around this. Problem is it's not attacking early for a whole lot. Like if you play it on turn 2, it's attacking for 1 damage. But you can save it for turn 3 where you play it, play a land, crack the land, attack for 5. So it has potential. I just don't know how well it's going to work in the format. Because like, you know, what's it called? Sprite Dragon. Well, Sprite Dragon's similar, except it actually has haste. Also starts at 1/1 for 2 mana, but has ultimate evasion. At least this has some evasion, which is going to be useful. I mean, any other prowess. This is interesting. There's a lot of this sort of, I wouldn't say prowess, but you know, like a lot of creatures that start off very small and weak, and get bigger with landfall, which means there's going to be a lot of creatures that can't block this, but that only applies to standard and limited. But yeah, it has to be play tested. It has potential, but I don't know what it looks like until it's actually played, because there's a lot of really good. There's a lot of good stuff fighting for 2-drops. Like for example, you can just play Tarmogoyf here and then attack for 5 damage next turn anyway. Just to give an example, and Tarmogoyf is less vulnerable to like Lightning Bolt, whereas this thing's super vulnerable to Lightning Bolt. So that is going to be a card that needs to be play tested. I see some potential there, but I can't be certain. Have you seen the new Bolt land? I have not, Jundicide. What is the new Bolt land? Oh, you mean, okay, hold on. You're talking about like which color? Now you think I know what you're talking about. Like they're all, there's 5 bolt lands that bolt you. But which, you have to be more specific, Jundicide. The blue one is useless. Okay, so I saw it and I was not pleased by it. It's this. It's Seagate Restoration. Okay, draw 7 mana. I don't know when I'm going to have 7 mana, but 7 mana, draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. Well, I don't have many cards in my hand if I'm paying 7 mana. I will tell you that right now. This is like a super win more card. It's an incredibly disappointing card to see. This is utter garbage for us. This is going to help some control deck. This is a win more card even for control decks. Because you have like 6 cards. What do you need more than 6 cards in your hand for? You have Reliquary Tower out? Anyway, this card is baloney. Card is terrible. Basic Land Shark. How do you know when to stop dedicating sideboard slots and just hope to dodge a matchup? For instance, I was thinking to run 3 Boils in Jund sideboard because of all the island-based and breeding pool decks. So, great question, Basic Land Shark. And you give up the matchup when you side in those 3 Boils and you're still losing. That's basically how it comes down to. Or you go from like losing 80% to losing 60%. Like you're still losing a lot. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You might as well take some of your 50% matchups and push it to 80% or 90%. So that's when you want to start giving up a matchup, when you are sideboarding for them and it's not really doing anything. Like it's not worth it. You're still losing game 1 a lot, and then you're just hoping for a 50-50 matchup in game 2. It's not worth dedicating that many sideboard slots. So I give up matchups where I am doing so damn bad that I don't care. But I also like to give up matchups where the metagame might hate it out for me. So really good examples are if you're really bad against artifact decks, but there's a lot of great artifact hate out there, you could hope that the metagame is going to prepare for it for you, kill all the artifact decks, and then as you go through the tournament, you don't face them anymore. You could also say the same with Dredge. If you have a really bad Dredge matchup, do you want screw the Dredge hate, hope to dodge it, hope that other people brought the Dredge hate and beat them up. That's also another good spot to give up a matchup. But really, I don't like to dedicate sideboard slots to matchups where I'm not moving the needle in a significant way. Like if you can bring in Boil and you win the game every single time that Boil resolves, or like 90% of the time, great, keep Boil. But if you bring in the Boil and it gets counterspelled and they have too many non-island cards like Celestial Colonnade and it didn't really work and this and that, then it's actually a sign that you should just probably dodge the matchup anyway, if it's not actually helping you convert to a higher win percentage. So that is like a meaningful win percentage. Like I hate people that are losing badly and they just lose a little bit less because of those sideboard slots. Like if you're losing, just give it up. Let's move on, and let's dedicate those sideboard slots to matchups where you know you can go from 50% to 90%, or even 60% to 80%, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Make sure that your matchups are you're going to win you're going to win the matchups that you can win in a significantly better fashion. Great question. Excellent question. That was a really good one. People who watch Coffee and MTG are just better people all around. Absolutely. Oh, Joe Beppo 2000 says, love your content. Finally caught a stream. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. I will absolutely keep this up. TBCP, do you think they will print the remaining choice lands in the next standard set? What are the choice lands? I don't know what that is, but even if I knew, it's hard to tell. It's also near impossible to tell what Wizards are going to do. You know, a lot of people are like certain, like they have to print Damnation in this next set. They have to print Rished Import in the next set, and like it never happens. It just never happens. And then 4 years after the fact, oh, now we have a Rished Import reprint. Now we have a Damnation reprint. So it's almost genuinely random. When we went back to Zendikar the first time, everyone thought enemy fetch land was getting reprinted. No enemy fetch lands, nothing. So in my opinion, when Wizards decides to print lands is like, it's pretty random. So I just can't predict it. New Death Shadow. Satamane says there's a new Death Shadow on around. Okay, let's go check it out. Uh-oh, I can't see. Oh, no. It's not here in my stream manager. Hold on. What's it called? Scourge of the Skies. No, Sky Conclave. Okay. But for 2 mana, okay, kicker 5. They aren't making these kickers easy. When you cast a spell, if it was kicked, each player loses half their life rounded up. Scourge of the Skyclave's power and toughness are each equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players. Oh, what the hell? When you cast this spell, if it was kicked, each player loses half their life rounded up. Its power and toughness are each equal to 20 minus the highest life. So if your life total is 19, then it's really a 1/1. Okay, I got it. So it is, yeah, it's like a new Death Shadow, but starts at 20. So you can start immediately. But you have to deal damage to your opponent already. Well, it'd be interesting to see where this is going to go. This could be modern playable. This could, but because you can get this thing out immediately. You know, just bolt your opponent and then play this thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And also, it has some like pretty good late game power. They lose half their life rounded up. This looks good. This looks very strong. I think this is a very strong card. Uber Jam says it can't fly. Well, I mean, neither did the original Death Shadow. Would Death Shadow play this? So it's going to come down to how playable is this thing when your opponent is not like losing any life themselves. But at the same time, you can still play it for a 1/1. And you know what? Death Shadow will go down to like 12 life to play a 1/1 Death Shadow. So all it takes is 1 fetch, 1 pain from our Horizon land, and boom, Scourge of the Skyclaves is online and just gets bigger. Well, I don't know, but it's the highest life total, so you still have to deal damage to your own life total in addition to you can't just like attack your opponent and sit at 20 life. You need to damage yourself and damage your opponent at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. It's going to be very interesting to see how this card is actually going to be playing out. Yeah, it counts both people. So you do need to do a number to yourself in addition to your opponent. But the upside is that you can keep your life total high as the Death Shadow player. Like Death Shadow, their Achilles heel is that, I mean, they got to put themselves to 5 in order to make their Death Shadow big. This one, they can put their opponent to 5, keep themselves at 14. So this is a card that can still be big, but not this card can still get really big, but not stupid, but not put you at risk is what I want to say. Not put yourself at risk of dying. This card's probably going to see modern play. This is a good card. This is a very strong card, Scourge of the Skyclaves. And not only that, it gives Death Shadow some late game when they have 7 mana. All right, I'll just cast this for 7 mana and you lose half your life total. I don't think it's too clunky. I mean, if Death Shadow today is playing Tarmogoyf, then they can play this card. There's room. There's definitely room. So, well, you have to play it in Death Shadow, Ty Padme. That you definitely have to play it in Death Shadow because you do need to reduce your own life total enough, or maybe not. Like maybe this can go in Jund, you know. Anyway, I don't know what is going to be the situation. Oh, Merkovic Feder, just subscribed with Twitch. Thank you very much for the 3 months, Merkovic. Hold on, can I celebrate you? Thank you for the 3 months. Thank you very much. Does Death Shadow even play 7 actual mana sources? That's a really good question. Well, they would. I think they would make the room for it with this card. I think they do, but I'm not sure. They have like one of each basic land, or almost one. They have like 3 basic lands, quite a few. They have enough shock lands. I think that it's close. They have 17 total lands. How can people say this is 2 mana intensive? It's 2 mana! That what is 2 mana too much for modern? Or are you talking about the kicker cost? Everyone says it's too much mana. And by the way, the kicker is free. Who cares about the kicker? You're free rolling the kicker. And they play Gurmag Angler, which by the way is not even cast for 1 mana most of the time. You do tax Gurmag Angler. I've had many Death Shadow players cast Gurmag Angler for 5. I can't play. It's oh no, they mean it's 2 mana intensive. Okay. Anyway, I think this is definitely modern playable, and Death Shadow decks, since like if it doesn't fit the current Death Shadow deck, they can adjust the Death Shadow deck to accommodate it. It's definitely modern playable. 100%. This is a looks like a really good card that we can look forward to. Also, what might have happened off screen was Crispy109 also subscribed with Prime. Thank you very much, Crispy. If you're watching live, thank you very much. So now is a good time to transition into the deck list review. So go ! Deck review, then space, give the URL to your deck list. Leave any comments that you can give me for your deck list. Like, you know, what format is it? Is it budget? Budget helps a lot, because if you're on a budget, then I can't suggest any expensive cards. And also, what do you need help with? Like, what matchups are you losing to? Do you need what decks are you trying to beat that you need feedback against? So, and while everyone submits their deck list, Ugly Hood Rat, you can submit. But if you're the first person that if you're the first person that's chosen at random, I'm skipping you, because you get chosen, I think, every single day. I don't know how you've gamed the system, but somehow the random system favors you. It's supposed to be random. Yeah, and give me your Twitch sub, you YouTubers. So anyone watching on YouTube should come on down and give me your Twitch Prime. It's free. Give it to me. Quantum Bird asks, if you could pick a 3-colored tribe for a super killer merfolk, which color combination would it be? Ooh, that's a good question. What color combination would I want for a super killer merfolk? It has to be 3. Maybe Bant. I would go with Bant, because Bant has all the answers. You get green, or do I want Bant? Do I want red? Either... Well, I think I want white, because I get access to like really powerful hate. Or I want either green or white. You know, I'll just say Bant for the time being. You have really good removal. You have Rest in Peace, obviously. We have good artifact hate between both white and green. So I think it opens the doors for a lot of... I think those would be the best color combinations to get. Oh, Mike the Mailman has subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much, Mike the Mailman. 2 months in a row. Subscribe with Twitch Prime. Thank you for riding the wave. What do you think of Wizards making fetchable fast lands? Is Wizards doing that? Are fetchable fast lands becoming a thing? I think fetchable fast lands would very close to break the reserved list. Oh, it's very hypothetical. No, but if they did, it could happen. It could happen, and it might be for the best of like everybody else. It's like it's not. I mean, it's close to breaking the reserved list, because you're making fetchable lands that can enter the battlefield. Well, and they count as islands and swamps, and you know they're land types, but they come into play tap beyond the third. So maybe it's fair. But it's dancing a really fine line there. But it's not the same card, of course. Yeah, Mystic Sanctuary. But that's just like a fetchable basic land, basically, that has some bonus attached to it. Okay, so with that, we're going to select someone from deck review. And don't worry, you can keep submitting your deck lists. It's not a problem. You'll just be picked later. Uber Jam's deck list have been chosen. Playing some jank tonight at our local modern tournament. Oh, yes. Let's go check out the jank. Let's check out the jank. Every deck that has ever been made start off as jank. So we have a Luca deck. Luca, copper. Okay, so the most important part about Luca is that it's got this -2, exile target creature you control, then you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Reveal a big fatty you put on the battlefield. So you got your Emrakul. So what are we copying? We're copying something from Dragon Fodder, it seems. Create 2/1/1. So you like making tokens with Dragon Fodder, not bad. Krenko's Command, same thing. And you also have the Polymorph. I'm really upset by this card, by the way. I actually despise this card because it's a just complete ripoff of Polymorph, which used to be a very unique blue card, and now it's just another card that is pushing blue's identity just off the scale. Blue has no identity anymore. Everything that blue does, everyone else does, and they just do it better. So so you've got 7 enablers, and then this one, you got a Braid, Desperate Ritual, Thrill of Possibility, 4 Chalice of the Void, 4 Blood. Well, now I really like this. So what I really like about this is you're playing like a prison deck, but you've got like a very powerful win condition with Luca here. Very powerful win condition. Dwarven Mine. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more mountains. And when Dwarven Mine enters the battlefield, untapped, create a 1/1 red dwarf creature token. And that's totally fine because by the time you hit your 4th land, you're totally in range of playing like Transmorgify and Luca Coppercoat Outcast. So I was about to say you should have a few more enablers, but now that I see the Dwarven Mine, that's totally fine. You could probably, okay, we're in 2020. You can probably play some better mountains. Like there's got to be something else that you can also play in addition to mountains, because they're all going to turn into blood moons anyway. What's it called? What's the land? We have a lot of land. We have the desert. If you need to deal some extra damage. Hold on. Okay, what lands do we have to offer here for red? Probably want fetches for mines. It's a mountain. It's not a bad idea, actually. Like, but I don't know if I think there's enough enablers. We have 4, 3, 4. It's 11. It's close. I think we have just enough by the time we hit turn 4 that we will regularly have it. Valakut is a great idea, actually. Valakut is I actually like the idea of Valakut since we have so many mountains. Oh, by the way, Marrow officially confirmed that the remaining 4 Pathway lands are definitely in I think it's Kaldheim or Kalaheim. Sunbay Canyon for card draw, but that hurts us. But it's not that bad of an idea. But the point is, with 20 mountains, we got to have something extra. So you could have some fetch land. Ideally, I'd hope it's something painless because you want to keep your life total as high as possible. So some options we've got are Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. Just as a 1 or 2 of just random, because if there's going to be a lot of games where you do nothing. You just absolutely do nothing. And by the way, Valakut is a great controlling card because you get Valakut on the battlefield. So let's get Valakut here. So there's a lot of games with... what if we don't have Blood Moon on the battlefield? See, that's the thing. We're free rolling on these things. If we have Blood Moon on the battlefield, whatever. If we don't have Blood Moon on the battlefield, we get to make use of our lands. So that's what I would like to see. I'd love to see you still use your lands in the games where you don't have Blood Moon, or in the games where Blood Moon's going to be useless. Like you're probably going to be setting up Blood Moon against, well, I wouldn't say Burn because you can still hit like Burrow's Charm, Lightning Helix, and some other cards, but Mono Red Prowess, for example. Whereas Valakut, if you're, I wouldn't say flooding out, because in a deck like this, if your combo gets disrupted, you go into the late game where you just start drawing lands and you just play land drops and they do nothing. But what you can end up doing is if you have a Valakut on the battlefield, now you're dealing 3 damage a turn to your opponent, and it becomes useful. Yeah, you could just run 2. You can easily just run 2. But like there's other lands that we're free rolling on. Like what's the red one that comes into play untapped if you control a mountain? There's like a red. I think it just makes your creatures +1/+0. Castle Embereth. Now you probably cannot play this. Well, I'll just put Castle. Oh, Embereth. So this actually has some synergy with your tokens. If you want to have like it'll turn your tokens into like actual serious damage. So like you. Now, I don't suggest that you play Castle Embereth with Valakut. You're going to have to choose which one that you like. But there is a possibility. There is a world where you go like Blood Moon, Chalice on 1. Your opponent is basically locked out. You start making a bunch of tokens with Dragon Fodder, Krenko's Command. And then you can close the game out pretty quickly by giving them +1/+0 until end of turn. And still, now instead of attacking for like 2 or 4, now you're attacking for 4 or 8, and you really close out the game. So the point is, you've got all these mountains here. Turn it into something else because you can afford to. And in the games where you don't have Blood Moon out, okay, you got some utility lands that actually do something in the game. Can't believe it's not legendary, yeah. Especially Valakut. Oops, where am I? Go back. There we go. Now, do you have enough? Okay, I'm just going to assume that you have enough of these, Luca and Transmorgify. 7 feels a bit low, but maybe it's enough. If you don't find your combo pieces fast enough, I would go to the 8th Luca, so you can very consistently find your combo. It'd be nice as initial. I like. Oh, you have Thrill of Possibility as initial cost. This card, discard a card. Okay, I like that card. That will not only like help you shuffle away combo pieces that you have extra of, but also can dig for the combo pieces and also get rid of cards that are useless in certain matchups like Blood Moon, pending the matchup. Why 2 more Emrakul in your sideboard? I would think you might want to diversify your Emrakuls, not increase the number of Emrakuls. Like, and by diversify, I mean just have a different win condition. Because if your opponent like discards, then surgical extracts your Emrakul, you don't actually have a very good way of winning the game. I mean, you can win with the tokens, of course. I don't understand. It's for switching to the Breach plan. Oh, right. Okay, so you have the Breach plan. Okay, that's totally fine. You have 4 Leyline of the Void, 4 Leyline of Sanctity, 1 Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. Can't help but feel like there might be something better for this side. These are like, well, okay, you're fine with going all in on these because you can discard them later with Thrill of Possibility, so that's not a bad thing. Cool list. Very clean. Very clean list. I hope the sideboard slots are being used properly. Like, okay, I have a quick question. What are you siding the Through the Breach plan against that your game 1 is not so good with? Well, if you play Ensnaring Bridge, you can't attack with Emrakul. That's a problem. And by the way, I'm super down on Ensnaring Bridge. I really hate prison decks playing Ensnaring Bridge. They seem to always lose. It seems to be a waste of time. Oh, so you just want to you need to blast them really quickly? I can't say this sounds like a really good idea because it's still very expensive. What is Ensnaring Bridge is like the most hated prison card of all time. Also, one of the most overrated prison cards of all time. Creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can attack. So the person who has Ensnaring Bridge, if they have 0 cards in hand, nothing can attack unless it's 0 power. But it's like you destroy this, you bounce it, whatever. It doesn't do anything anymore. Anyway, I'm not thrilled with this if it works, it works. But I can't help but feel like against aggro decks, this is not where you want to be. Like against aggro decks, you just probably want a more controlling game plan, like Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns to kill off all their creatures. Because this is not a fast way of winning the game. I mean, you still need to like get to what, 4 land? Is it 3 lands? No, you need 4 lands and a ritual to like boost yourself up, right? 4 lands to, yeah, that's 5 mana. You could be dead by then. You could totally be dead by then. Or they have some answer to this. So if you really want to beat the aggro decks, you can try this. You can try this, but if it doesn't work, I would definitely go for a more controlling plan post board, more with more sweepers, for example, just more sweepers. Like if you get 5 mana, I would play like Hour of Devastation or something. But yeah, Anger of the Gods and Sweltering Suns are totally within reason. Anger of the Gods. And then Sweltering Suns is similar. It's like 3 damage to each creature, but you can also cycle it for 3 mana. Have you seen the Forsaken Monument card yet? No. And it looks like I will not. It's not. It must be super new. Pyroclasm is totally fine too. Against the right decks though. Like I would not expect this card to be good against. I don't know. It might be good against humans, but they can get their humans out of range of this thing pretty quickly. But anyway, like I said, try your thing out. But if it doesn't work, if you're not too fast, you take a more control route post board and then basically combo off. And not to mention, like I can definitely see a world where you're attacking with these things. And I would definitely play around with what lands that are going to replace the mountains here. Try Valakut is slow. The Castle Embereth is, I would say, faster because it gives you the ability to win with your crappy tokens. Gives you really good chances of winning with your crappy tokens, which sort of excites me. But Valakut is totally fine too. Try something else. The thing is, in 2020, there's no reason to have like this all basic land mana base in 2020. You have so many options for utility cards that it's just completely unnecessary. Cactus Sovishmok, you are pretty late, but it's okay. We're still going. We're still doing the show. All right. So thank you very much, Uberjam. I hope that was useful and constructive feedback. And also, it's a very clean list as it is. So good luck with the list. We're on fire today. Okay, deck review pick. Who's going to get chosen? Some lag here. Did I type it correctly? Yes. Deck review pick. All right. Werebear Activists has been chosen, playing an elf deck, a Vizier elf deck. And the feedback is. Okay, hold on, let me show you all the list. So you'll take a peek at it. And Werebear says, Green White Vizier Elves in Modern. Haven't played the deck in about 2 years, but I'd love to get it tuned for play in an open meta. Main deck still goldfishes smoothly, but sideboard will need some help. So, okay. So the tough part about Elves, of course, is that it gets picked off very easily by a lot of removal. But you have a very solid main deck. Of course, this is just, a really standard elf stuff. Nykthos is a bit unusual. That's not stock completely, but whatever, that's okay. Then we've got what's good is that you do have access to the white. So I will say, I don't know if this is the deck that wants it, but Burrington Forge Tender is very popular right now amongst the decks that are playing white. They're playing like 3 to 4. They're really going all in on it because you would stone block a lot of prowess decks where they play like Swift Spear or Soulscar Mage, and you just block, 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 make it impossible for them to get through. So you actually might want to go up on Burrington Forge Tender. I don't know if this is the deck that would want that effect, but I can say that right now, because of all the prowess, this is where you want to be. Kataki's Warrior's Wage, you can cut this. This is old. There are no artifact decks right now in the metagame, so you don't have to worry about it. Like, even the Urza decks have more or less disappeared. Path to Exile is still fine. Rest in Peace is good. I would say Rest in Peace is good. You could play this. Scavenging Ooze is fine. Selfless Spirit might not actually be that good anymore, because right now we are very high on Walking Ballistas, and we're very high on Lava Darts, and all it takes is one of these things to shoot it, and then it's basically doing nothing. So I would not be as keen on Selfless Spirit, even if you're bringing it in against Control. I guess it would be okay. You know what? It might be okay, because Control is still Control. It's not that big of a deal. They still have their sweepers that you can use Selfless Spirit on. But I just think it would be narrow. It would end up being good against like only one card. The Malera. We don't need Malera in this list, because I mean, there's not that much. There's some infect, but there's not a lot of infect out there, so it's not something to worry about. Again, Stony Silence. You can get rid of Stony Silence. Even Mind Sensor. Opponent would search library, search his top 4 cards. This is okay. Eidolon of Rhetoric. I can see that this is like a 2-year-old sideboard. Well, here, let's go look at see what Elves players are doing right now, just out of curiosity. I would imagine, well, especially if you're playing white, you might have like Veil of Summer now to fight blue decks. I don't know if that's something you need to fight. What do we want? Decks, metagame, modern. And if anyone's playing Elves in the chat, you can voice your opinion. I think I need to zoom out a little bit here. Can't see what I'm doing. Okay, let's review all the decks, and now let's look for Elves. Elves is probably going to be a very small portion of the metagame. Gets eaten up by the prowess, really. Probably his prowess is just eating that deck up really badly. Is this Elves? This is not Elves. Okay, hold on. Let's go look at Devoted Devastation. What are they playing in their sideboard? Because I saw that. And they are going to have a very similar plan. Okay, so here you go. They're also a creature-based deck that wants to combo off. So I think there's actually a lot of room to just borrow from what they do. I skipped Elves. You know what? I like what they're doing here. So they're playing 2 Blossoming Defense. This is probably not for you, because Blossoming Defense is they're very specific about what cards they need to keep to win the game. But Burrington Forge Tender again is one of the main cards in their toolbox to help fight against prowess on those stupid burn decks. They play a 3 Path to Exile and 4 Veil of Summer to not only protect their combo, but you also want to protect your combo. You're essentially a combo deck. And when you play Collected Company, you don't want to get counterspelled by Force Negation. You want to protect it. You got to send me a link. Send me a link, Inquibi, because I was asked about this new Forsaken Monument card, but I couldn't find it. It must be super new. So Caustic Caterpillar, sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. I don't think you need this because you can play with what's it called? Reclamation Sage. Path to Exile, of course. I would borrow a lot from here. So I mean, I would at least borrow the 4 Veil of Summer, the 4 Burrington Forge Tender, the 3 Path to Exile, and then you could have some little niche one-ofs for your Court of Calling, because I know you have like a Court of Calling package, but I would just play with something like more reliable and streamlined. Okay, hold on. So now there was an elf deck that I missed. I'm told I missed Elves. Is this it? White green is Elves? This is not it. Oh, here's Elves. Okay. Okay, again, they're playing with Veil of Summer. They're playing with Yixla Jailer. Dismember, Vivian, Champion of Wilds for a Leyline. If Leyline, if this is in your open hand, creatures you control get +0/+1. Seems like a pretty janky card, but actually, I can sort of see, I can understand why they would want to play a card like this. Whoops, sorry. Because they're trying to defeat, like, the Prowess decks, the stupid Lava Darts. But it's still an awkward card to have in your deck, period. Okay, what are other decks doing? Sideboard. They like Veil of Summer. They like Damping Sphere. They like Dismember. But you're blue-white, remember. Sorry, you're green-white. So you have access to some other colors that this one does not. Let's see. These are all Golgari. These are really all Golgari Elf decks, not white-green Elf decks. So I would still try to borrow from the Counters Company sideboard more than anything else. And of course, if you need Artifact Destruction, Reclamation Sage is there for you. You can put that in the sideboard completely. Totally, that's fine. Why not the 4th Horizon Canopy? I might play that over a Nykthos. So do we have, but anyway, that would be my suggestion. Copy, I would go more, I'd almost go all in on Burnt and Forge Tender, because if you play the metagame right now, it is so much red stuff out there. Path Exiles are great. Get the Veil of Summers, and then you have like maybe, depending how many numbers of Burnt and Forge Tender and Veil of Summer you want, you have like 4 to 5, you'll have like 4 flex spots for maybe some other stuff like Selfless Spirit, Scavenging Ooze, maybe Fracturing Gust if you really want to do it. But I personally I don't like one-ofs in like this sort of deck. I understand you one-ofs with Kataki War's Wage and Scavenging Ooze and Selfless Spirit because you can semi-tutor for them all. But for instants and sorceries, I wouldn't do that in an Elves deck because you don't have that consistency. So I would, instead of a one-of, I would just take them all out. I would not play one-ofs of non-creature spells in the deck. But I hope that was useful. I hope that was some useful feedback. And what is up with the... Okay, so what is this new card? Everyone's like, we gotta see the monument, the monument. Magic spoilers. Forsaken Monument. Oops. All right, so this is like a sequel to Eldrazi Monument. 5 mana, colorless creatures you control get +2/+2. Whenever you tap a permanent for colorless mana, add an additional colorless mana, like you, as if you needed more mana. And whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. Tough call. And they can only play, it's legendary. So if you have Tron online, you can play this and still play a Thought-Knot Seer or a Karn the Great Creator. You know what? It's probably worth a one-of, but we'll have to see. It might be a win more card. But I guess the advantage is if you don't have Tron online, this effectively gives you Tron anyway, because you'll have 10 mana next turn. Yeah, this is probably going to see play. This might get something seriously banned. This might get Eldrazi Temple banned. Well, this might get something seriously banned from Eldrazi Tron again. Well, no, actually, I think that if there's going to be a card, if there's going to be a card that probably gets banned from Eldrazi Tron, it's going to be Karn the Great Creator, because that card has just become stupid at this point. Ballistas for zeros, does that work? Oh yeah, colorless creatures get +2/+2. You can put a Ballista and play for nothing. Eldrazi Temple banned the dream. I don't even know if banning Eldrazi Temple even do anything at this point. This is gonna this could get. This looks good. Yes, it looks really, really strong. This is very powerful. Eldrazi gets a new toy. All the really strong decks get stronger. But elf players and merfolk players and fairy players, they get nothing. They're just giving like the bare minimum. The thing is, like, when they gave merfolk force and negation, they also gave all the other blue decks force and negation. So it's not like, yeah, where are our merfolks? Where are the merfolks? Yeah, they got Maze Mine Tome as well. I don't know what they would remove for this Forsaken Monument, but obviously it's strong. Like, it's a hedge against not having Tron. Because if you don't have Tron, well, basically, if you pay 5 mana for this, you definitely have Tron next turn. And by the way, my Thought-Knots here is now a 6/6, so good luck dismembering it now. Just makes it just near damn impossible to do anything. I think this is a really well, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think this is a really crappy colorless card to like fetch for with Karn the Great Creator. I could be wrong. Maybe it's good. Maybe I'm underestimating the life gain that you gain from this. Why did colorless need so much life gain? And also, I think some colorless artifact deck is going to utilize this way better than well, I don't know better, but like they don't need. You could play a deck without any creatures with this card, and it would be fine. Like, imagine Eggs running something like this, and just playing and recycling artifacts and gaining an enormous amount of life, and tapping and adding a bunch of mana. Are there going to be any infinite mana loops with this to have like one mana, like one land tapping for an additional mana than usual? So if this is your Tron payoff at 7 mana, you actually have 8 mana to cast a 5/4 Matter Reshaper, Smasher with value. Yes. Smasher attacks for 7 now. It's going to be interesting to see how they adopt this card, because it is still a little bit clunky, and it doesn't actually do anything, but it guarantees that your future plays are going to be really big. Like, how does this interact with Tron? Whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add. Okay, so you just get one more. So if you tap a tower for 3, you're only going to get you're tapping it for 3, but you're only getting an additional 1. So Tron mana is now worth 10. So how does it work? Hey, you have Tron mana, you play Eldrazi Forsaken Monument for 5, then you have 3 mana available to play a Matter Reshaper. I'm going to get really tired of them gaining life, by the way. I think the life gain from this is going to be obnoxious. Yes, it does mean that. Eldrazi Temple now will tap for 3. It's a bit difficult to evaluate this card because it's definitely win more in some ways. Like, there's stuff on this card that you do like it's a Lord. It's an Anthem effect. And also, whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. That can be very useful. I don't know where Eldrazi Tron is in terms of needing life gain, but yeah, Mind Stone's totally in Modern. Ugly Hood Rat, you got to get into Modern. I mean, that's the format that, all the cool kids are playing. Get out of Standard. Modern is where it is. No longer will it be Doesn't Matter Reshaper. That might be the worst thing. Yeah, this is Matter Reshaper is going to be a 5/4 creature. Oh my god, my brother's going to love this card. He's going to jam Forsaken Monument in his Merfolk decks. It helps them versus Burn and Prowess. It's probably too slow in that matchup. But they slow them down anyway with Chalice of the Void, so there is going to be time to play this card. It's difficult to tell. Anyway, it's very powerful, very strong card, very, very strong. I'll have to think about it more. Maybe I can get some Eldrazi Tron experts on the channel to talk about Forsaken Monument, what they actually think about this card. because definitely it's a very strong. It definitely has potential. Like obviously it's good, but is it good enough? In like Eldrazi Tron already has like so many good cards, like so many like real ridiculously good cards. Do they want to play with this? Or maybe this could bring back Eldrazi aggro. Like Eldrazi Tron is like a prison deck, but like originally Eldrazi Tron was a little bit more like I wouldn't say Eldrazi Tron, but the original Eldrazi deck that was born from Eldrazi Winter was like a super aggro deck with like Eldrazi Mimic and Endless One and a lot of other. Maybe that sort of style deck will come back because it goes way over the top with Forsaken Monument. You know, it just goes way over the top. So this could be, and that might even be worse to be part of this new Eldrazi aggro deck. But I don't know because of course Eldrazi Mimic will get eaten up by like Ballista and Lava Dart and stuff like that, but we'll see. We will see. Anyway, that's all the time that we have today for Coffee and MTG. But if you're watching live, don't worry, we're going into Merfolk gameplay in a second. I'm going to be streaming it. But for everyone else that's watching on the replay, thank you very much for showing up. And we saw some great deck lists, some cool lists. Also, so lesson learned with some of the deck lists that we saw. We saw the Luca deck, and that Luca deck obviously had a million basic mountains. You don't need that many basic mountains. And in a Blood Moon deck, who cares? I mean, if you are playing mono black swamps, you might have to be concerned about how many swamp. Like you need to have enough swamps to beat Blood Moon. But if you're a mono red deck, you're not worried about it. So just Blood Moon. If you don't Blood Moon yourself, you actually have some utility lands. So use some utility lands. And also with the Elf deck, you know, try to see what decks similar to yourself are doing if you want to find out what best sideboard cards are for you, because definitely other decks are doing very similar things. Like Jund borrows a lot of similar ideas from like Grixis Shadow and also the 4-color Shadow decks. So there's a lot of overlap there that you can borrow, and I think and it still works. Wizards should make a card called Colorless Obliterator mana, cost 0, counter target colorless spell, or exile colorless permanent from the field except a land unless that land can produce 2 or more mana. Isn't there something like that? Is it called Not From This World? It's not exactly what you said. Or is it Not Of This World? Well, okay, it's not exactly what you're talking about, but there's a 7-mana tribal instant that says counter target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control, not of this world, costs 7 less to cast. If it targets a spell or ability that targets a creature you control with power 7 or greater. Okay, this is useless. I thought it cost like nothing if the card cast was like really expensive. But anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. We're going to thank my sponsors, themanabase.com and Mana Traders. So we had a great discussion, great spoilers, interesting cards that are going to be coming and definitely shaking up all the formats. And we'll talk about it again tomorrow. So I'll see you at the next cup. Take care. See you next time.